Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually felt happy? Not the fake smile for the camera kind of happy. I mean real joy, the kind that bubbles up inside you for no reason at all. Most of us are so busy chasing the next thing, checking off boxes, and comparing ourselves to everyone else that we've forgotten how to just be happy. And here's the hard truth. Happiness isn't something you stumble into. It's not waiting for you at the end of your to-do list or behind your next promotion. It's something you choose every single day. This isn't about being positive all the time. Life gets messy, and pretending it's always great doesn't make it so. But there are simple shifts, tiny actions that can radically change how you feel and how you show up. Today, I'm going to tell you how to do that. No fluff, no BS, just real strategies to feel more alive, more grounded, and yes, genuinely happy every single day. How you start your day is how you shape your life. And let's be honest, most of us start our mornings in chaos. We wake up tired, hit snooze 2 or 3 times, scroll through our phones before we even get out of bed, and then rush through our routines like we're already behind. No wonder we feel stressed, unmotivated, and disconnected by lunchtime. The first few minutes of your day set the tone for everything that follows. If your morning is a mess, it's nearly impossible to feel in control, calm, or happy throughout the day. Now, let's break the lie that you need to be a morning person, to own your mornings. That's nonsense. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m., chug a green smoothie, meditate for 30 minutes, and run a 10K before sunrise. You don't need a perfect, Instagrammable morning routine. What you do need is intentionality. You need to stop letting your mornings happen to you and start owning them, deciding clearly and deliberately what you want that first hour of your day to feel like. Here's the truth. Most people don't realize your brain is incredibly sensitive in the first few minutes after waking. It's in what's called the alpha state, a transition zone between sleep and alertness, where your subconscious mind is wide open. That means whatever you feed it during this time goes deep. If the first thing you consume is negative news, endless social media feeds, or stress about emails and to-dos, you're literally programming your brain to be anxious, distracted, and overwhelmed for the rest of the day. That's not a mindset issue. It's neuroscience. And once you understand it, you have a massive advantage. Owning your mornings starts the second your eyes open. And here's where it gets real. Stop hitting snooze. Every time you hit that button, you're reinforcing hesitation. You're teaching your brain that your first decision of the day is to delay. That little habit of putting off action, even just for 5 more minutes, bleeds into everything else. You want to be happier? Start by choosing momentum first thing. The alarm goes off? Get up. You don't have to love it. Just do it. Happiness isn't about what feels good in the moment. It's about what leads to feeling good in the long run. Once you're up, take just a few minutes to check in with yourself, not with your phone, not with your inbox, with you. Ask yourself, what kind of day do I want to have? What energy do I want to bring into today? Who do I need to be to make that happen? This doesn't have to be some elaborate journaling session. You can do it while brushing your teeth or sipping your coffee. The point is to become intentional, to shift from reacting to your life to designing it. Here's another powerful shift. Before diving into the world's demands, do something that fuels you. It can be 5 minutes of stretching, a quick walk outside, reading a page from a book that inspires you, or simply sitting in silence with your thoughts. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it's for you. Starting your day by giving something to yourself, even something small, tells your brain that you matter, that you're in charge, that you're not just a robot running through the motions. You're a human being building a life on purpose. And yes, there will be mornings where things go sideways, kids wake up early, you oversleep, an emergency hits. That's life. But if you've trained yourself to own your mornings more often than not, those curveballs won't knock you off your center so easily. You'll bounce back quicker because your baseline has shifted. You've built a foundation of clarity, calm, and control that doesn't get shaken by one chaotic morning. The truth is, most people treat happiness like something that magically appears when the conditions are just right. But that's not how it works. Happiness is built through habits, through the choices you make day in and day out, especially in the small, quiet moments no one sees. Owning your morning is one of the most underrated but powerful ways to create lasting happiness because it teaches you that you're not a passenger in your life. You're the driver. And when you start each day with that kind of ownership, everything changes. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for your phone, before you get pulled into the noise, take a breath and ask yourself, what would a happy, fulfilled version of me do next? Then do that. Not perfectly, not forever, just for today, because that's how real happiness is built. one intentional morning at a time. Let's be real. Comparison is killing your happiness. Every single time you scroll through social media, glance at someone else's success, or tell yourself that you're behind, you're taking a piece of your joy and handing it away. And for what? A highlight reel? A filtered version of someone else's life? You already know this game is rigged, and yet we all keep playing it like there's some kind of prize for keeping up. But here's the truth. There is no finish line. No magical moment where you finally match up, finally feel worthy, finally win. Because as long as you're measuring your life against someone else's, you'll never feel like enough. Comparison is a trap that masquerades as motivation. We tell ourselves, cinch in, just getting inspired, or a D, I'm using it to push myself. But deep down, you know the difference. Inspiration lifts you. Comparison weighs you down. It whispers that what you have isn't good enough, that you're not doing enough, that you're not being enough. And that voice, it's not truth. It's fear dressed up like logic. When you live your life constantly looking sideways, you miss what's right in front of you. You could have something beautiful growing in your own lane, but you're so focused on what's happening in the next one, you forget to water your own. That's how people with talent, ideas, passion, and potential end up feeling stuck, lost, or bitter, because they keep measuring their worth using someone else's ruler. It doesn't make sense. You're not supposed to be like them. You're supposed to be you. And let's talk about the reality behind the scenes. That person you're comparing yourself to, they've got problems too. They struggle. They doubt themselves. They have moments where they feel like frauds or failures or just plain tired. But you don't see that. You see the polished version, the curated moments, the wins, not the work. You see their chapter 20 and compare it to your chapter 2. No wonder it feels like you're losing. You're judging your behind the scenes based on someone else's highlight reel. That's not just unfair, it's destructive. Here's something you need to hear. You are not behind. There is no timeline you're supposed to be following except your own. The job you don't have yet, the relationship that hasn't shown up, the dream you're still building, it's all happening on your schedule, not the world's. Stop looking at other people's lives as a blueprint for your own. Their path is not your path. And thank God for that, because your story is one of a kind. Your detours, your delays, your struggles, they're shaping you in ways you can't even see yet. They're giving you depth, grit, and resilience. Things a straight path will never teach. Comparison also kills creativity. It robs you of your ability to think clearly, take risks, and express yourself fully. Instead of asking, what do I want to create? You start asking, what will make me look impressive? That mindset will never lead to happiness. It will only lead to exhaustion because you'll constantly be performing instead of living. You'll end up chasing other people's dreams, wearing other people's masks, and wondering why you feel empty, even when things look good from the outside. You want to be happier, you want to actually feel free, then you need to let go of the need to compete. This isn't a race, it's a journey. And the only person you need to beat is the version of you from yesterday. Focus on that, or celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Honor your own progress, even when no one else sees it. Shift your focus from what you lack to what you've got, because there is always something to be proud of if you're willing to look for it. The truth is, happiness doesn't come from having more than others. It comes from wanting less of what doesn't matter and fully embracing what already does. It comes from learning to stay in your own lane, even when the world is screaming at you to compare. It's not about tuning everything out, it's about tuning in, listening to your gut, trusting your process, owning your life like it's the only one you'll ever get, because it is. So the next time you feel the urge to compare, pause. Breathe. Remind yourself, I'm not them. I'm me. And that's more than enough. Then put your head down and focus on building a life that feels good from the inside out, not one that just looks good from the outside in. That's the shift that changes everything. That's how you stop the game and finally start living. Let's just get this out of the way. Perfection is a lie. It's a moving target that never stops shifting, no matter how hard you chase it. The more you try to be perfect, the more you delay, doubt, and beat yourself up for not being good enough. And that mindset, it's a thief. It steals your time, your energy, your confidence, and most of all, it steals your joy. If you want to be happy, really happy, you need to drop the obsession with being perfect and start falling in love with one thing: progress. Progress is where real growth lives. It's where fulfillment happens. It's not about being the best. It's about getting better. one step at a time, one choice at a time. Perfection will paralyze you. Progress will push you forward. And if you're honest, you probably already know this. You've had moments where you waited until the right time or until things were just right before starting something. But guess what? That perfect time never showed up, did it? Because it doesn't exist. Waiting for perfect is just procrastination dressed up in a nice outfit. Let me hit you with something you need to hear. Messy action beats perfect intentions every single time. You can plan, overthink, and overprepare all day long, but nothing changes until you move. Nothing shifts until you take that first awkward step, even if it's small, even if it's shaky. That's what builds momentum. And momentum is magic. It turns doubt into clarity. It turns fear into confidence. You don't get that by sitting on the sidelines trying to figure everything out in your head. You get it by doing, by showing up imperfectly and figuring it out as you. Perfectionism is just fear in disguise. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. But here's the thing. You are never going to please everyone. You are never going to get it all right. So why are you holding your happiness hostage to a standard you can't even define? You weren't born to be flawless. You were born to be real, to grow, to stumble and get back up again. That's where your power is. That's where the confidence comes from. Not from being perfect, but from proving to yourself that you can handle the process. You want to know what separates the people who move forward from the ones who stay stuck? It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not even luck. It's the willingness to be uncomfortable, to be a beginner, to look a little silly, to fail and still keep going. Progress isn't always pretty, but it's always powerful. And once you start chasing progress instead of perfection, your whole life starts to change. You start giving yourself permission to start, permission to learn, permission to grow without beating yourself up every step of the way. One of the biggest lies we tell ourselves is that we have to get it all together before we can be happy. That once everything's in order, then we'll feel confident, worthy, fulfilled. But that's backwards. You don't wait for confidence to act. You act your way into confidence. You don't wait for happiness to arrive. You build it day by day through small wins, through showing up, through making progress no one else may even notice. Let's break this down even further. Happiness comes from movement. When you're growing, even just a little, you feel alive. You feel like you're evolving. That spark you feel when you learn something new, when you take a risk, when you follow through on something you promised yourself, that's happiness. That's momentum. And it doesn't require you to be perfect. It just requires you to keep going. And yes, there will be setbacks. There will be days where you feel like nothing is working, where you fall short, where you mess it up. That's part of it. That's life. The difference is when you're focused on progress, you don't see failure as the end. You see it as data, as feedback, as proof that you're in the game. Perfection tells you to quit when things get hard. Progress tells you to learn, adjust, and keep moving. So if you want to be happy, really deeply happy, start celebrating effort instead of outcome. Start measuring how often you show up, not just how flawless your results look. Start talking to yourself like someone who deserves grace, not just judgment. Because every time you choose progress over perfection, you're choosing growth over fear. You're choosing movement over stagnation. You're choosing to be on your own team. And that choice, it adds up day by day, action by action. Suddenly you look back and realize you've come a long way. You're not where you started. You've grown. You've evolved. And that feeling, that sense of pride, of momentum, of becoming someone stronger and more grounded than you were before, that's the kind of happiness no one can take from you. Your body and your mind are not separate. They are in constant conversation. What you do with one directly affects the other. That's why one of the fastest, most powerful ways to shift your mood, your energy, and your mindset is to move. It's not just about fitness or looking a certain way. It's about reclaiming control of your state, your emotions, and ultimately your happiness. When you feel stuck, overwhelmed, or unmotivated, your instinct might be to sit still, shut down, or check out. But doing that only reinforces the feeling. The longer you stay in a passive, low-energy state, the harder it becomes to shake it. That's because your mind takes cues from your body. If your body is slumped, still, and closed off, your brain reads that as per not okay. It doubles down on the stress, the anxiety, the doubt. But the moment you get up, literally stand up, move, breathe, stretch, walk, jump, dance, anything, your body sends a new signal. It says we're doing something, we're alive, we're taking action, and your brain follows. You don't need a gym membership or a perfectly structured workout plan to use this to your advantage. This is about intentional movement. It could be a brisk walk outside, a few minutes of stretching when you wake up, or putting on a song and dancing like a maniac in your living room, 10 push-ups on your bedroom floor. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It matters that you do it. Movement shifts your chemistry. It boosts dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals your brain uses to regulate mood and motivation. You can literally change your emotional state through motion, and most people don't even realize. Think about the days where everything feels heavy. You've got a ton on your mind, your energy is low, and your thoughts feel like a broken record looping the same worries on repeat. Now think about what happens when you force yourself to move. When you go for a run, hit the gym, or just take a walk and breathe some fresh air. 9 times out of 10, you come back different. Not because your problems magically disappeared, but because you changed. Your state shifted. You shook off some of the tension, and with it, you opened up space for clarity and calm. Your body holds energy. When you don't move it, that energy gets stuck. That's why movement isn't just physical, it's emotional. It helps you release. You've probably felt this before without even realizing it. You move your body and suddenly feel lighter, more focused, more grounded. That's not a coincidence. That's science and soul working together. That's your system recalibrating through action. And let's be honest, so many of us are living in our heads, overthinking everything, spinning in circles mentally while completely disconnected from the body carrying us through life. That disconnection fuels anxiety. It fuels self-doubt. Because when you're not rooted in your body, you feel like you're floating in chaos. Movement brings you back. It reminds you that you're here, you're strong, and you're capable. It's also a massive confidence builder. Every time you push your body, even a little, you prove to yourself that you can do hard things, that you can keep going when it's uncomfortable, that you can show up for yourself even when you don't feel like it. And that proof stacks up. It becomes your evidence when your mind tries to lie to you and say you're weak or lazy or not enough. No, you've moved. You've shown up. You've taken action. That's strength. And it builds mental resilience just as much as it builds muscle. The beauty of this is that it's available to you every single day. You don't need fancy equipment or hours of free time. You just need to interrupt the pattern. The next time you catch yourself spiraling, getting stuck in your head, or feeling off, move. Don't wait for motivation. Use movement to create it. Start with one small action. Stand up, stretch, breathe deeply, go outside, do 20 jumping jacks, something, anything. Break the pattern with motion, and your mind will start to shift with it. And the more consistently you do this, the more natural it becomes. Movement becomes your reset button, your grounding tool, your go-to habit for reclaiming happiness. Because when your body feels alive, it's nearly impossible for your mind to stay in a negative loop. You're giving it a new environment, a new rhythm, a new focus. That change in physiology leads to a change in psychology every time. So no, you don't need to run marathons or live in the gym to be happy. But you do need to stop letting your body sit in the same stuck patterns and expect your mind to feel free. You've got to use the incredible tool you carry around with you 24/7. Move it. Wake it up. Let it remind your brain that you're not stuck. You're in motion. You're alive. And that simple truth, that's the gateway to feeling better, thinking clearer, and showing up as your best self every single day. Let's get something straight. Your brain is not wired to make you happy. It's wired to keep you alive. That means it's always scanning for problems, always on the lookout for threats, always focusing on what's missing, what's wrong, what could go bad. It's a survival mechanism, not a joy generator. So if you want to actually feel happier, more fulfilled, more at peace with your life, you can't just sit around waiting for that feeling to magically show up. You have to train your mind. You have to interrupt its default settings. And one of the most powerful ways to do that, one of the simplest, fastest, most effective daily habits you can build is gratitude. Gratitude changes the game. It takes your focus off what you don't have and forces you to see what's already good. And that shift in perspective, that's where happiness starts. Because the truth is, most of us already have so much more than we acknowledge. But we're too busy chasing what's next, comparing ourselves to others, or stressing about the future to actually stop and recognize what's right in front of us. That constant forward focus, that always striving, never satisfied mindset, that's what burns you out. That's what makes you feel like it's never enough. But gratitude puts the brakes on that cycle. It makes you pause. You don't need a perfect life to feel grateful. You just need to pay attention. You could be having the worst day, but still have a warm meal in front of you, a friend who checks in, a sunset outside your window, a breath in your lungs, or a lesson learned from something that didn't go your way. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything's great when it's not. It's about refusing to let the hard stuff blind you to the good stuff. It's a decision to focus on what is working instead of obsessing over what isn't. And here's the thing. Gratitude isn't just a fluffy, feel-good idea. It's science-backed. Studies show that people who practice gratitude consistently sleep better, experience less stress, feel more optimistic, and build stronger relationships. Why? Because when you start noticing what's good, your brain starts looking for more of it. You rewire your mind to see opportunity instead of lack, connection instead of isolation, hope instead of fear. You stop living in constant survival mode and start living in awareness. That's powerful. The best part? It takes 5 minutes. You don't need a long journal session or a Pinterest-worthy routine. Just ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? Start with 3 things. Write them down, say them out loud, or just think them. Do it first thing in the morning or right before bed. Make it a ritual. Some days it'll be easy. Maybe something amazing happened and you're beaming with gratitude. Other days, you'll have to dig. Maybe it's just that you made it through, that your coffee was hot, that you smiled at a stranger, that you kept going even when everything felt heavy. That still counts. In fact, especially on the hard days, it counts more. This habit is about more than just listing nice things. It's about shifting the way you see your life. Because when you practice gratitude, you start realizing how much abundance already exists around you. You stop seeing happiness as something distant, tied to some future event like getting the job, losing the weight, buying the house, and you start seeing it as something that's already here, something you can feel now. And when you do that consistently, your baseline happiness starts to rise, not because your life gets easier, but because your lens gets clear. Gratitude also helps you build emotional resilience. When things go wrong, and they will, gratitude gives you something to anchor to. It keeps you grounded. It reminds you that even in chaos, there's something steady, something good, or something worth holding on to. That doesn't mean you ignore your struggles or deny your pain. It means you make room for both, for the challenge and the blessing, for the loss and the lesson. That's how you grow. That's how you stay centered in a world that constantly tries to knock you off balance. So if you're serious about wanting to be happy every day, stop thinking happiness is something that happens to you. It's something you build. And gratitude is one of your strongest tools. Use it daily, not just when things are going well, but especially when they're not. Train your mind to notice what's working, what's beautiful, what's meaningful. Say thank you more often, to people, to moments, to yourself, because every time you practice gratitude, you're telling your brain, this is what matters, this is what I want more of. And your brain listens, it adapts. Gratitude isn't about ignoring reality, it's about choosing a better one. It's about realizing that happiness doesn't come from having it all. It comes from appreciating what you have. And when you make that a daily practice, life stops feeling like a race you're always losing and starts feeling like a gift you're lucky to live. The people around you shape you more than you realize. Their words, their habits, their energy, it all seeps into your life. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're absorbing the mindset, attitude, and behavior of the people you spend the most time with. And that means if you're serious about being happy, you have to take a hard, honest look at your environment. Because your circle isn't just a reflection of who you are, it's a loud, clear prediction of who you're becoming. If you're constantly surrounded by people who complain, who make excuses, who settle, who criticize your dreams or bring drama into every conversation, guess what? You start lowering your energy to match theirs. You start second-guessing yourself. You start shrinking. You start feeling heavy, negative, stuck. And it doesn't matter how driven or optimistic you are. No one is immune to the influence of a toxic environment over time. It wears you down. It chips away at your belief, your confidence, your peace. But flip that around. Imagine being surrounded by people who are lit up by life, people who challenge you to grow, who cheer you on even when you doubt yourself, who celebrate your wins and walk with you through your setbacks, or people who inspire you just by how they live. That energy, that mindset, it's contagious too. It lifts you. It reminds you of what's possible. It fuels your joy. And that is why this point matters so much. Happiness is not just an internal game. It's also deeply influenced by the company you. Now, Does that mean you cut everyone out of your life who isn't a ball of sunshine? No. That's not real life. People are complex. No one's happy all the time. But you need to ask yourself, are the people I spend time with pulling me toward the life I want or pushing me away from it? Do they light me up or drain me? Do they believe in growth, possibility, progress? Or are they stuck in cycles of blame, fear, and bitterness? Because whether you admit it or not, those vibrations become yours if you're not. And listen, it's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to protect your energy. In fact, it's essential. You're allowed to distance yourself from people who constantly gossip, judge, or pull you into negativity. You're allowed to set boundaries with friends or family who always make you feel small. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your mind and emotions, especially if they're not contributing to your peace or your purpose. Protecting your happiness isn't selfish. It's necessary. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for your happiness is audit your circle. Who makes you feel seen? Who makes you feel heard? Who challenges you to rise? Who reminds you of your power when you forget it? Those are the people you hold close. And if you don't have those people right now, that's okay. Go find them. They exist. Join communities, start conversations, show up in places where growth and optimism are the standard. Sometimes happiness isn't about doing more. It's about choosing. And don't underestimate your own power here. You don't just need positive people. You need to be one. Be the kind of friend who uplifts others. Be the one who sees the good, who speaks life, who encourages without keeping score. Positivity is magnetic. When you start embodying it, you'll naturally attract others who do the same. Your energy will start repelling what no longer fits and drawing in what aligns. That's how the shift begins. It starts with you and it expands out. You don't have to go through life alone. You're not meant to. But you do have a choice in who you walk with. Happiness is hard to maintain in isolation or in toxic company, but it grows when you're supported, seen, and surrounded by people who are rooting for your joy. People who are doing the work too. People who know that life isn't perfect but choose to bring the light anyway. That kind of support system doesn't just change your mood, it changes your life. So if you want to be happy every day, don't just look inward, look around. Clean up your environment. Build relationships that nourish you. Create space for people who match your future, not just your past. Because when you're in the right room with the right energy, the right voices, the right support, everything starts to feel possible. You stop surviving and start and that's where happiness lives. Not in isolation, not in perfection, but in connection, in community, in the energy you choose to keep close. So choose wisely, protect your peace, surround yourself with light, and watch how much brighter life becomes. Happiness isn't luck. It's not something that randomly shows up one day if you're lucky enough to have the right job, the perfect body, or a bank account full of zeros. Happiness is a practice. It's a choice you make over and over again, every single day. It's built through small decisions, consistent actions, and the courage to take control of your own life. Especially when it feels you don't need a complete life overhaul to feel better. You just need to start. Wake up with intention, watch your thoughts and choose better ones. Move your body and shift your state. Practice gratitude like it's your job. Be kind to yourself and surround yourself with people who remind you of your light when you forget. These aren't big, flashy moves. They're simple, powerful tools. They work when you work them, and they compound. One good day leads to another. One positive shift rewires your whole mindset. The truth is, no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you a happy life. But the good news, you don't need anyone to. You have everything you need already inside you. You have the power to flip the switch, to create your own joy, to decide today, I'm going to do what it takes to feel better, think better, and live. Happiness isn't found, it's built. And starting today, you're the builder. Brick by brick, thought by thought, step by step, every single